Welcome, you guys. It's Evelyn, and I have a Metatron read for you as well as a twin flame read for you on the table. And so let's go ahead and take a deep breath, and you can do this without me as well. Spreading your light around the world. Go ahead and take a few more deep breaths. I was doing the Miss Mary Mac again before this read to rebalance my energy, so you might want to try that, see if it resonates with you. And today's the 27th of January. 27 is the Ace of Wands, which is that ignition of passion or inspiration, the third energy. And the day adds up to 34, which is a 7, but it's also the 8 of Wands, which is that energetic exchange, the arrows of love, a lot of communication or travel back and forth. And it is Thursday here anyway, on the east coast of the U.S. And I was watching a short Cryon message this morning, and then another video came across my feed, which I've never watched before, but it had Atlanta in it, and I'm connected to Atlanta, so I opened it just to see what they were talking about. And it was very interesting because she brought up red Mercury, which I don't remember hearing about. I might have before, but I never remembered about it. But she was talking about all these weird things that are happening around the world, but she's from Atlanta, so of course she's talking about specifically Atlanta today, or in this video. It was called Something Strange is Happening in Atlanta, 2022, from the website from YouTube, Really Graceful. And so she was talking about the red Mercury scare in 17 or 18. She said that was maybe the last video she had made about Atlanta. And it was deemed a fictional substance, but it was supposedly able to change any explosive into a nuclear one. There was a 70s rumor from her video about material on an arms black market called red, reported and associated with the Soviet Union at that time. But in 2017, there was a collapse of the 85 bridge in Atlanta that she talked about that caught fire and was shut down, and someone had walked into a nuclear regulatory place claiming to have the red mercury on them and claiming that it had been from Africa. And she was saying in the video that although Homeland Security and the bomb squad, all the type of energies like that showed up for this event, they wrote it off as being nothing, and that the fire from the bridge was from some homeless people that were living underneath of that. And she's stated alchemy in the city on the 33rd parallel, which stood out to me, so I just wanted to put that out there. She also mentioned about an epidemiologist who had disappeared, who was 35 years old. He had told his neighbor to erase his phone number from their phone before he left the house that day, and his body was found in the river 2 months later. He was also, what struck me also is that she specifically said he was found with crystals in his pockets, which my twin always used to have crystals in his pockets. And then in February 21, so recently, 200 goats without heads were found in the river, which is also water they drink from. And they were bringing up, there's always excuses like the government saying it's something else, pawning it off to something else. But she was asking or posing that question, what actually was going on? Was it just this African or the Santeria religion or their belief system? But they make animal sacrifices, but they usually use the body for food. They don't dump them in the river like that. So there's some interesting stuff. If you want to check that video out, you can. She also brought up the resistant bacteria, or a gene, MCR, in the sewer water that causes bacteria to be resistant to antibiotics. So if you want, and she brought up the guide stones as well. So if you want to listen to that, you can. But I just wanted to bring up that because red was coming up in my reading the other day as well. And also I just brought up Russia recently as well, and she was talking about the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, which is when my first child was born. So there's just a lot of connections there. And then when I put out the cards for the Metatron read, what do you think one of the first cards out was in the underlying energy? It was red, and the shaman energy. So for the Metatron read, which was done at 10:51 to 52 this morning, which is the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, and the 51 and 52 are the King and Queen of Swords. And here's the picture of the read. Okay, and I start, this is the underlying energy, the first column, and I deal across, and then these guys, and then these are last. And the number of cards up there changes depending on what I'm guided to do. So let me roll the die too before we start this. For the Twin Flames for January 27th, 2022. We have the 2. Okay, so it's the High Priestess, the Divine Feminine, being able to see both sides of the situation, which is a positive aspect of duality, right? And then we have Scorpio here. And we have Neptune here, which is Pisces oriented there. So very dreamy, but yet deep and very realistic, which is Scorpio. Scorpio is all about, you know, deep trauma and that kind of stuff. So kind of have that polarity of Pisces and Scorpio, right? If they're very dreamy and etheric, and then the very deep and realistic. And then the 2 of the duality of that dance between them and the Divine Feminine here. So again, Scorpio, Pisces, and then the High Priestess is Pisces too. For me anyway. So it's very much about that energy today. And I have to say, I'm very focused on Pisces today as well. So the bottom of the deck was the inner child, the 36, which is the Atlas energy of the weight of the world on your shoulders. And again, that inner child of, you know, make sure you check in with yourself and what's weighing on your inner child every day. Beneath that was the wake-up call, the 11 of alignment, and then the red card, which was, again, referencing red Mercury today. And the colors that came up were blue, orange, silver, green, and indigo. So very much focusing on, again, the duality, the red and the orange, and then the top of the color scale of the blues to purples and silver as well. So then Archangel Michael was coming up for me as well, because I always get that indigo platinum shield of Archangel Michael, which is really coming up today as indigo metallic energy. So silver, platinum, it doesn't really matter. And then the green of the heart was also coming up, which is right in the center. So we don't have the yellow, right? So we have the red, the orange, no yellow. We have the green, we have the blue and the indigo, but we don't have the violet and we don't have the yellow. But we do have the silver, which comes up above that. So the crown and it's, you know, both of those spots, the solar plexus and your crown, are all about shining your light. So that was missing as far as the colors today. As far as the elements in the read, we had air. That was it. So, and then I was also getting the connection from the root to the throat chakra, and then the heart to the third eye and crown chakra, and the soul chakra, basically the heart, you know, connected to all of that higher vibrational energy. Yeah, so at 11:01 I started interpreting this read. So we started out with the wake-up call to listen and take note, align with your calling, and then call home. Again, that's the 11 of alignment, truth and balance, of justice. And then the red card of 55, which that's the Excalibur, the Ace of Swords, the truth of the red Mercury was coming up in regards to the red card here, which is usually very shamanistic and of the earth. But also blood on their hands was coming up regarding the red Mercury. The shaman rituals and sacrifice, but also peace pipes, and I'm losing my voice. The shaman rituals and sacrifice, but also peace pipes and natural ways of doing things. So why are you pawning off something negative to people who are very, you know, who are based on something very pure and earth-like, very connected to the earth? So inner child, Atlas, what weighs on you today? Perhaps about the angels and the shaman, or perhaps the Schumann resonances and Hertz. And you can take that any which way you want. So the first was coming up was the first card was that energy of from fall to winter, which is also the number 4 of control and the Emperor, about letting go of control and structure and the transformation of lighting up or lightening up. And again, now we're going back to the solar plexus and the crown of shining your light. So lighting up or lightening up the dark in waves of flames coming in. As the new children are born, there's different waves of energies coming in here that are higher vibrational beings, and group pursuits as well. Take in the sun to condense the shadow backpack. It's easier to then see. When blue at 11:11, present to mothering and holding oneself. The Knight of Wands comes up as the passion for life, and the Queen of Wands next to them, both stretching to release their hot, stuck energies of ego within the passion, which is inspiration plus ego. The Knight of Wands to allow the fall, and the Queen of Wands to give back to the sun, to stretch up with hands up and lunge, to find the sword amongst the infinite drops of the ocean, or perhaps the needle in the haystack under the purple silver moon at 11:16, which is justice in the tower, or sudden events, or epiphanies. The union with your inner warrior of light. And that was what the yoga card I picked today too had to do with just a breathing technique of pulling in the light and then shining it out through every pore of your body. So again, it's resonating with that same energy of shining your light from your crown, from your solar plexus, your confidence. And then Archangel Michael's shield coming up here of blue, indigo, and metallic. After the mother holds, speaks, and intuits, the children, Knight of Wands and Queen of Wands here, just as an example, are able then to find their truth. Home with mother present, always there, learning to mother themselves in the same way, right? When you were home growing up, your mother was always there for you, and learning to do the same thing that your mother used to do for you, but doing that for yourself. The sword from the stone, by melding into one another without attachment or resistance. So again, bringing the dualities into the center and melding so that the sword just slides right out, right? And you know that whenever you get frustrated and you're trying to get something out of something, it never works by just getting mad and trying to pull it out. It releases by you then letting go of the frustration and being patient, and then it all of a sudden becomes simple. So detached at 11:36. Justice and the Atlas energy again. Detach King of Cups from the drama. Look up. As the Knight of Wands sits in the grass at sunrise on the horizon, energizing in the ground or grass that you sit in, because the sun's still below the ground too. So it's saying it's extra potent sitting in the ground at that point. And look up. Conquering your fears one step at a time with help or Sandalphon, or as I refer to, Saint Dolphin, for dreams to come true. Shower in white light from Mother and 0 point for clarity. Go within to the shadow to see what you can see. Beacon, shine on with waves beating up upon you and supporting the King of Cups with a pillar of strength. As the Divine Feminine High Priestess, review and reflect in the purple moon or 0 point. Time out needed after the sword and the stone or rock of GIBR altar, which can reference the military of Britain, but however GI and BR come up for you, because that can have to do with your GI tract as well. What is your altar today? And then lead the way upstairs with flame in right hand, answering the call. So at 11:45, which is the time at night I was born, the Atlas leaving the wounded warrior behind, the Kundalini rising up to clear the decks of untapped energy from root red to tip. The sword, your chakra system, God's finger in you, your stamp of approval calling you to lift off. 11:47, justice and alignment and your synchronicities of the 7 of Cups and heaven in your eyes, but also how fortunate we are to have all the choices that we do have, and the message in the bottle that you are to speak and be heard. Don't keep it all bottled up inside. No Jimmy Neutron eruptions here. Expand to change and freedom. Of the 5, the Knight of Cups is green here. Being love for the heart healing to happen. Remember, you have to be the change you want, right? In any situation, anything that you want, be it. And that's how you get it. Don't wish for it. You are in command of all the cells of your body. Fly free in the air that you breathe. Transition to the diamond light, go with the flow, 1 to 1. And again, that references the visual of the 2 cups and the string between. In the current, which is the electric coil with the magnetic current running between the coils, the electromagnetic field, go with the flow of that 1 to 1 in the current within the electric coil. And I was just getting coil as co-ill, because we were just talking about being the change you want, right? So if you don't want to be unhappy, if you don't want to be hurting or have pain or chronic injuries, well, be that you aren't that. Be that your cells are wonderful. And you can say this mantra that I am whole, I am balanced, right? I am ageless. Say it every day, okay? The electromagnetic grid or the grid work and travel, paddle on. Perhaps you're being called to do some grid work or move from your usual place of residence. You are whole, you are balanced, and you are ageless. Purple indigo child connected to your star and just knowingness. Mastering the mystery of life. The underlying energy was coming up as the shaman, Schumann, and woman. The SSS and the 2 U's of woman. The man in touch with his feminine and Schumann and shaman woman. Talk to your inner child. Talk to each other. Angel with shell and shaman with peace pipe or trumpet and flute that make great harmony together. Both major and minor dissonance was coming up, which is sonance is sound or a tune, but ultra, whenever I think of sonar, I think of ultrasound, right? And the dolphins and whales. The minor dissonance. So what is dissonance for you, right? What is something that doesn't resonate with you regarding sound? And that is subjective, because what doesn't resonate for you may resonate completely with someone else, especially when it comes to music and things like that. So, and they were talking about how there's never been any clear-cut difference between dissonance and what am I thinking of the other word? Consonance. I can't think of what the word is, but whatever the opposite of a dissonance is, they can't define it exactly because it doesn't always apply, which was coming up as Newton's second law the other day as well, right? It applied to the scientists as absolute, but now it's no longer absolute anymore, because now the things that are nanoparticles and really super big don't apply to that law, or that law doesn't apply to those things. So the same type of energy was coming up here around dissonance when it comes to sound. And it just really means not necessarily something that's bad, but is not the usual, or something that may be a little bit uncomfortable for you. And then I got a weird text from Egypt, which is so crazy. It was it was advertising DirecTV or something. But it was from Egypt, which was crazy. And then I went back to sonance again, which reminds me of ultrasound, which was funny because I was listening to Vivian. She had a guest. I'm trying to think of, I don't have the name, but she was interviewing someone who has, she's been working as a shaman, forever. And she has so many, degrees and certificates and experiences. I mean, she's just like one of those people who's just been, she's lived by herself many times, out in the wilderness. But she just happened to mention that instead of extraterrestrial, they prefer to be called ultra-terrestrials, which it resonated with me but didn't resonate with me at the same time, because I don't think anyone really cares at that vibration what name you use to call them. But the ultra was then resonating with this ultrasound that was coming up here with sonance. So sona by itself means gold. It also means he, she, her, him, and is a class 7 absolute pronoun. It also means to pierce, stab, puncture, to fry, atone, happy, fortunate, lucky, and immediately. It also means I make noise, sound, or resound, music. Sleepiness, sound system, sonography, of course, dog, happy, rumor, word, mouth, fame, reputation, wasp, to steal, with a zone, and then persona, which has to do with an animal character that represents your, you online. And then NCE, which is the end of sonance, means us, or ourselves, each other, besides, as well, too. To us, him, her, or them, or there, or here. Or in other words, sonance is to sound with each other. Gold as well. Lucky, noisy, sleepy, thieves and dogs and wasps and animal characters, us. The sound of spirit, of the shaman and the inner child, or in other words, the father, mother, and the child. The first column was coming up as the divine masculine energy, letting go with a love for life, by letting go of control and detaching from drama and shining your light. The Emperor, Knight of Wands, King of Cups, and grounding and integrating, the receiving of love was coming up in that column. And the second column was coming up like the feminine, to receive the sun and release the back, which is also that shadow backpack, in conquering your fears. Review and reflect at 0 point. Again, go within and meditate. The third column was coming up as the mother, the warrior, and the shadow worker, to clear the steps and lead in the dance. Release of ego by pulling the thorn from the lion's paw. And of course, the lion is ego. So very interesting reference there. So then I was guided to, this is where I was listening to Cryon. And he was talking about Akashic records, how they're expanding, because now your Akashics aren't going to just include your human lives, but your ET lives as well, and your crystalline energy that is you, and that we're recalibrating because we made it past the so-called shift that we worried that we wouldn't make it past, right? And so he talks about that, and that our ancestors are Pleiadian, and that they represent 4 layers of our DNA, which he's had other videos that talk about that as well. And of course, the Pleiades is the 7 sisters, but he's saying there's actually 9, not 7. And that, of course, they have a history of millions of years as opposed to us, so they're much older than us. And then I was getting the reference to my read yesterday where the Empress and the High Priestess were always coming up as sisters, and it specifically came up more significantly as sisters yesterday, in reference to the Earth and the purple moon, as the moon and the 0 point being a sister of the Earth, of Mother Earth. And then here, sisters was coming up as the Pleiades, as the Pleiadians and the humans, as sisters. Okay, so you can reference that too. If you hear sisters, well, they're bringing up the Pleiades. And it's interesting too, because my parents lived in Bend, Oregon, which is by the Sisters Mountains. So there's all of these connections there about sisters. And that he was referencing their DNA as 85%. I've heard him reference it as 80% before, but today he specifically said 85%, that you could literally wish yourselves somewhere else and then be there. And then he talked about spontaneous remission as well, which again is about being in command of your body doing what it's told by you, not waiting for you to wait for your angels and masters to rescue you, but because you are that piece of God in control of all of your cells. You tell it what to do. You tell it to be well and whole and balanced. Okay? So we talked about spontaneous remission, and I've talked about that too, because that came up, I think, from another Cryon episode where spontaneous remission is just hitting your DNA at 100%, but you only have to hit it for a split second, and you can go into spontaneous remission. And that has to do with, very deep meditation. The body doing what it's told and being in that very high vibration so that you can hit that very high percentage. And again, reminding you guys not to watch the news, but there's going to be new films coming out about the shift, which I've already noticed already. And then, which was interesting, dreams where you can fly, which I always dreamt I could fly when I was young. And I can fly. And I am ageless, whole and balanced, wise, abundant, happy, and content. Or in other words, filled comfortably. Okay? Not too much, not too little, but just right, like the 3 bears and Goldilocks. So, and then gold coming up again with Goldilocks. So then they were guiding me to some symbolism, because as I was watching the video, I noticed I have one of those protector stickies for EMF on my iPad. And as I was sitting there, it's reflective. So what the pattern that I was seeing in it was X was 1X. Oh, it's funny. No. Yeah. 1X1 on top and what looked like the toroidal field in the middle, and then 1X1 again underneath it. But on the side of it, looks like an extra person was there. Like it wasn't two ones and an X in the middle. It was 1X and 1 that was closed off on either side. So it was like one person by themselves. Because for me, 1X1 is co-creation, right? You have the 2 in the middle. It's even like the 1111 where the 2 inner ones overlap and come together, but they still have half of themselves aligned on, on their side. So that's that energy of co-creation, of coming together, co-create. But what was really interesting is that it was on an angle. And I just showed you Lyra, which looks like a rectangle, but like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, it's on an angle. But Lyra has a triangle top, like the big crayon that holds crayons. It's like the top is open. That's Lyra. So, but it's on an angle. It's like, it's leaning. So, okay, I'm like, where are you trying to take me with this? I already caught that when you showed me Lyra, but now where are you taking me in a new direction to understand it further? So I was guided to, I drew what I saw on the sticker, because it just looks like the toroidal field in the middle, with 1X1 above and 1X1 below, and then on the left it was like a horizontal dash, and then the X and the 1 were vertical instead of next to each other, and then another dash at the bottom, so kind of closing off both ends. So again, I was getting the energy of needing the third as pushing the balance of the 2 in the right direction. So then we went to the symbol of the X, but not the X, the mathematical X. I'm not sure what it's called, but I think it refers to vectors. But it's the X with the little curls on the end, which literally is the vector, but it shows movement, right? As opposed to the X, which is static or stationary. This X has movement to it. And so I looked up, because I have a math mind, but I didn't take physics in high school. So I'm not familiar with this stuff. This is all stuff I'm getting from downloads because my guides are leading me to this stuff. So the X, that's not the regular X, the one that moves, that's got the curly cues on it, is literally representative of the toroidal field. But it's also connected with the vector. And that S, that is that wave, is the integral. So I'm saying, okay, so what symbols are you trying to lead me to, and what is it that you're trying to get to? So when I looked at this sticker, besides the things I've told you about already, the toroidal field in this picture, in the reflection, I could really see the waves of C's around the 2 cheeks of the apple, right? The toroidal feels like an apple, with the hourglass in the middle of the energy of explosion and implosion, and then the quantum leap across the 2 circles in the middle of the core. But today, what I was seeing in it was the 2 C's like Chanel. And then I was seeing the 2 S's, but they're on their side. There's movement there. It's not just the static upright S. And then again that X, which has movement to it. It's not just the static regular X. And they're all really the same symbol, but they're coming up as all these different things involved with it. So I also noticed that 1X1 in Roman numerals, of course, can be 9 plus 1. Or 11 minus 1, which either way comes up to 10, which was referencing, again, the 10 trill of code, which is also that high vibration of energy of the human and the 1, right? The 0 point and the 1, or the 1 and the all. It also has to do with the 1 and the 0, the lines and the 0 points. So again, connecting the dots. And the vector. So what does the vector have to do with that? Well, in order to go from one point to the next, there has to be direction and movement, right? So there's the vector, or that X, which is the toroidal field, but with movement, because usually the toroidal field is up and down. But it's being shown here as having movement on a diagonal. And also the waves of S's come up as the sine wave. So all of it's involved here. The C's, the S's, the X's, and the movement now. So the vector is referencing the toroidal field as magnitude of how bright it is, but then using the vector as the direction to get it to the next point. So I also noticed that the X with the 2 1s, if you put them together, is the diamond version of the infinity symbol. So it's two triangles, but together at the point, like the hourglass, as opposed to the other way around, but on its side, like the infinity. The toroidal field always comes back to the 0 point, or high vibe human and connecting with each other. So again, it's the one on the side of the sticker leaning on this rectangle or tower in order to push the two who are co-creating, which is representing the toroidal field, the two cheeks of the apples, and then the one outside that gets them going, the kind of the trigger, right? The lighting the fire under their butt. So neither are number 2, both are number 1, because the number 1 includes all numbers 1 through 9, like white includes all colors, is the information they were giving me here. So again, the moving X, which I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, or the curved X was also coming up regarding the bell curve, which is like the sine wave. And then they went into, from stardate.org, the 4D time-space continuum energy, which was from Einstein, of course, and that time helps us understand the 3D expansion of gravity. The L was coming up as the dimensions, including, the dimensions including velocity, temperature, and density, not just the normal dimensions that we think of when we think of the length and the width and the depth. It includes velocity, temperature, and density as well. And you know that density is different than dimension, because densities can be very heavy, whereas dimension has nothing to do with the heaviness of it, right? So the example here was that, if you have a 2D flat piece of paper, you make it the next dimension by curving it. So one dimension curves into the next. So if you have a flat piece of paper, which is 2-dimensional, and you roll it up, you now have a 3D object in a 2D world. So now that 2D world's distorted because they're not going to see what they normally see, and it's 4:44 on the clock, which is the angelic realms. And the same thing going from 3D, our world, to 4D, right? So when we start going into 4D, all of a sudden certain things that we all believed in don't work anymore. We don't see the whole 4D, we're just seeing a piece of it, and they described it as like just seeing the outside of the ball, the curve, because now we're curving into 4D. We are just experiencing the outer curve of the 4D ball as one dimension curves into the next. So again, this movement and direction was very important about going from one 0 point to the next 0 point in order to connect. So I wrote down a bunch of symbols and what they meant, and again, that movement X comes up as vector, but I'm not sure if that actually equals vector, but that's what I was getting. And what was interesting too is the brackets came up, and use brackets inside of parentheses to delineate something else within, like a subgroup, but it was defining it as inside expression first, which I love that definition. I'm not going to go into all the letters because that's too much, you can look up those letters if you want. I was looking up, there were symbols of physics. The W, but the weird little W that goes in on itself more than the regular English W, is the symbol of angular frequency and rotational velocity. So all this had to do with movement. And note that Q is electric charge and heat. But for me, the Q is the human embodiment of source, with the quantum leap is that little tail across the circles. But it's that same kind of energy, right? Because representing the electric charge to heat things up in order to have the energy to cross through that 0 point, or to find the 0 point and make that transition. And Mach was coming up too. So Ma, M-A, mother, is coming up as Mach, which is really fast. And the L, the regular L, was coming up as angular momentum, whereas the upside down L, like an F without the lower in that direction, is gamma, and it's scalar, as opposed to vector. Anyway, if you're resonating with some of that, you can go ahead and look at the symbols that might trigger some more things for you. So again, the vector is related to the torus being on an angle instead of just up and down. And in Latin, it means carrier, transporter, bearer, I bear. Directed quantity with magnitude and direction, the sign difference between 2 points. So the different definitions, what stuck out to me was 2 points, because we're talking about the 2 points in the line all week. And also one of the definitions is a memory address. Memory address is Akashic records. It's us remembering who we are. So it's a memory address, the vector, containing the address of the code entry point, or in other words, the 0 point, or even the entry point of your wounds. How to find that, how to crack the codes to get in the safe, right? It's dereferenced and jumped to at the same time. So it's not being paid attention to and yet jumped to during execution of an interrupt, right? So if like a program closes on your computer, it's being able to find that spot to get out safely as soon as the interruption comes in. And it's also defined as a one-dimensional array and DNA molecule used to carry genetic information from one organism to another. So in other words, that's that quantum leap energy, and also considered the passenger there. So the vector is basically the torus, which has to do with magnitude of brightness and intensity, right? But the vector gives it direction and moves it on an angle. So that we can not only have the push and pull in one moment, but we can use that push and pull as an energy source in moving it forward. But the very basicness of that is to connect with another. The L of angular momentum. So a memory of 0 point, the entry point. A go-between, which is mutable, regarding, cardinal, fixed, or mutable. It's the runner, the Gemini, the Virgo, the Sagittarius, the Pisces. They're the go-betweens. To leap at angular momentum. The regular X is the static, and then the X that's got movement to it is charged, like an ion. The torus field energy with the vector directions, right? The vector is the woman at the gate telling him what to do in that one card from the Tarot Sexual Magic. That's the 4 of Cups. The torus energy field is with vector that gives it directions on how to get to 0 point, how to connect with the other, connecting the dots, how to shift in a right angle direction, how to shift in the right angle, right? The new perspective, but at the right angle, to break the code, the lock, and open. But when one is static, that means it's stubborn, it won't move, it's the trigger. When it pushes the 2 to co-create, they exchange because they're resonating equally, because they're befriending each other, because the third, both of them don't resonate with. So now they've found something in common to come together with. So it's by having that third energy that all of a sudden doesn't resonate with the other, pushes that one person who was with that third to the third person who now they resonate with against the first person who the second person doesn't resonate with anymore. So, you know that energy in groups of 3 friends, there's always 2 that agree with something and then the third may not agree with that, and then they feel left out in the situation. But the one static pushes the 2 to come together and co-create, which is then an exchange where they resonate equally. There's the do-si-do and dance, where then they can change partners again if needed, but they don't have to. It's being in the push and pull, the dance, down the line, or the chain like the gears of the bicycle, shifting like train tracks, knowing when to change lanes and shift at just the right angle moment. The lock then clicks open. So that was coming up from the Metatron read. I know they're getting really intense with Metatron, my Metatron cards there. I like my messages, they're very cool. All right, so now we get into the read on the table in front of you. This is the general read for all of the twins. And then here's the basic SIRIAN Starseed deck read that's on the table. There we go. Okay. And then the full read here with all 7 decks was here. Okay. And so here we go with that one. Okay. Oh, I wanted to bring this up too. I just told you it was 4:44 on the clock. Yesterday when I left the video that I did for you, it literally posted the time on the clock was 4:44 as soon as I stopped the video, and the video ended up being 14444. So very cool. It says a lot about the angelic realms coming up right now with the triple 4s. Remember, the 4 upon itself is like It's like an octave on the piano. The higher the sound, the higher the frequency, right? The higher the vibration is. So I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck for this read at 707. And there's the two sevens again with the 0 point between them, the space of source between them to give them room to grow. And then at 717, I was just guided to look at the clock at that point because I started dealing out the Tarot of Sexual Magic, and I just brought up that card of the Four of Cups where they're at the fence, right? He's at the gate and there's a woman telling them what to do. Like, you know, if you went into a big party and there's the hostess with the mostess coming in and guiding all the guests to where they need to go, except this was the energy of always telling the masculine what to do, like him not doing it on his own motivation. But this was at 717. So we had 707, then 717, and then I finished clarifying at 732, which is the journey and the chariot. So the underlying energy was ascension, which is the world, and the major arcana that came up here were solar deity, the indigo, which is the magician, strength, which is the strength card, and then karma, which is judgment. And then after the read, the tower came up. There were 2 cups, 2 wands, 2 swords, and 1 sword and 2 pentacles. So very well balanced, only one sword. And then we had the Knight of Swords. That's the only court card in the read. Before the read were the Page of Swords, King of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. And then after the read, the King of Cups came up. And we had double 4s and double 7s, which brings up this sweet spot. Because in numbers, because I forgot to tell you something, and they're reminding me to tell you that. So in the numbers 1 through 9, where 5 is the middle, 4 to 7 is the sweet spot because it's just to the light of the middle, right? You don't want it right in the middle. You want it air to the side of the light. So the same thing was coming up with the push of the angle, right? If you stay in the middle, you're right at the 5. But if there's a little bit of a push on the angle, then you're into the sweet spot of the 4 to 7, airing towards the side of the light. And it's the same thing with alkaline and acidity in your body. You don't want to be acid. You want to be on the side of alkaline, but not too much either way. The code line here was all about individuality, time out, and new beginnings. Oh, the other numbers, besides 44 and 77, which is the 4 of Cups and the Sovereign, was 47, which is the 7 of Cups, the synchronicities. The number 2 by itself, the High Priestess, the Divine Feminine. The 45 of the 5 of Cups, the 78 of the 10 of Pentacles, which is heaven on earth, besides the dream family. And also 12 of the Hanging Man, 23 of the King of Wands, 34 of the 8 of Wands, 56 of the 2 of Swords, and the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, the humble, loyal servant. So the code line being all about individuality, time out, and new beginnings. And the only separation in words were the I from individuality, right? The I in individuality. The I in divide, duality. And then new beginnings was, the N was separated from ooey beginnings, right? So the N, for capital N for me, is the Christ energy, that unity consciousness. So the N is coming up with the I, right? The I in presence. And then the in divide is coming up as the ooey beginnings, right? Because that's resonating with the same energy. So the message was coming up here, the number 10 from 2 and 8 on the code line. And 10 again is that high vibration of the 1-0 trill that we just talked about in the symbolism of the numbers. And Sophia sweats, perspires after death. In the life essence of the soul of the 2 of Cups. And 80 was coming up, which is the 0 or source energy backing up the 8 of the dance, which we were just talking about as well, between the 2 of Cups, which is the twins. Also was coming up the energy of the unruly pack of dogs, wolves, or people, right, that are exceeding the limit, going too far, and perhaps, you know, it's like a riot, without the energy of Ra, or not connected to source. The Ma, which is also coming up as Mach, very fast, after death. This is energy of the mother and son again, because the son's coming up as sappy, and the mother after death, and the group without Ra, or source, and then the essence of soul and the 2 of Cups that dance energetically between each other and seeing this separation or difference. The Sophia foe, or the enemy of the mother. This could be someone who's mad as well. Mothers against drunk drivers could be coming up here, or anything really. The energy of the mad woman versus Mother Earth. The Sophia enemy of the Ma from hell, or with a reputation to uphold. The essence of the sun and the sap or the soul. The Two of Cups being strong energy here. Regarding individuality, time out, new beginnings, right? Apart from the pack. Not following the family just because you're a family, but following your own guidance from your personal source. The pack of crazy wild dogs, people or wolves, with Ma's reputation or story to uphold. To go too far, to assert, prove, show, make serious. And the L coming up here. And the sun in the sky, or the sun as the mother and son. And very white was coming up, as well as alone, unique, soil. The Two of Cups after the pot of gold. So 80, for me, 79 is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So 80 was coming up as the moment after the pot of gold. So once you get the pot of gold, then what are you going to do, right? You can't base everything on the pot of gold because you still have to do something every day that makes you happy. So again, it has to do with relationships as well, right? Once you're in a relationship, you still have to do things that make you happy. You have to follow your own bliss. You can't follow the other person's bliss. Of course, you come together and you do things you both love to do together, but you don't control the other. So that's the whole point. Like, once you get what you're wishing for, then what? What are you going to do? You still have to be you. That's the whole point. Okay. So we have the underlying energy here of the Seven of Cups on top here, the bottom card, and the mini cards on top. And there's that finger of God there we were talking about as your chakra system, okay? At 8:08 I started this, the dance of the masculine and feminine with the zero between, because it gives them space between to be themselves. The Seven of Cups reversed, and beneath that is the Page of Swords reversed, the Ascension card upright, the Four of Pentacles reversed, the King of Wands, and then the Knight of Cups reversed. The Page of Swords reversed can be negative news or a child with a mouth for sure, or perhaps no news. This could be spying and lying and rumors, all that kind of stuff. But it could be negative news or no news from a Pisces or a cycle that's now complete. The Divine Masculine with their heart opening, the King of Wands shaman, perhaps jealous or dumping multiple loads or with someone who is. Emotional attachments are no longer confused, coming downstairs, or perhaps repeating steps. The Page of Wands is excited, perhaps about a lover or frustrated in a divorce or forced outside the box. As the Nine of Swords reversed and the High Priestess is upright, and the Knight of Wands reversed, player falling short, trapped juggling too, or the horse is, or Sagittarius is down, with the hostage of a little girl, or pink blankets perhaps. The clown of the town, or the Knight of Wands refusing to rescue the prisoner, and back to the daily as usual, clowning around for the community perhaps, or not taking seriously no matter how hard they work, or having to repeat steps again. With Pisces double upright here, with Gemini upright and Taurus reversed, Sagittarius reversed, bringing good news post-war or virus, after the fact or unable to conceive, or swelling went down. With the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, dysfunction or loss, perhaps unhappy or dissatisfied alone, with less time, money, and energy now than before, going from 10 Pentacles to 7, or the King of Wands letting go to fix or make amends, and the Knight of Cups reversed may be jealous or rejected that they don't have this, or sad reaping rewards and not an offer of passion, or unable to conceive of going from 10 to 7 to 4 now, and then giving that away too. Back to juggling or out on the street, or the King of Wands jealous, unable to conceive of being rejected by a performer or a clown. The King of Cups upright strong, or with Leo or mother taking care of the beast or laundry in the never-ending story of having to pay and fix, or humbled with their tail between their legs, or the pet is sick and scared of the vet, and now you have to shell out more money for surgery or something else again. With Leo upright and Scorpio reversed without much to offer, retreat comes up here, and beneath that, romantic feelings. At 8:33, which is the dance of the 33 and the Christ vibration, but also standing up for yourself without getting triggered, is the Five of Wands reversed, of no longer flirting or showing off, and the Four of Cups upright on the fence. That's that card. On the fence or at the gate, being told what to do or being given direction by someone that you don't want to follow their orders anymore. And this is coming up with the bird feeder and the sweet tweets after the sudden event. And again, that could be someone who's really, you know, purposely very sweet when they want you to get them what to do, when they want you to do what they want you to do. But then when they don't need anything from you, they ignore you, or they're mean to you, or, you know, it's just a manipulation. It's not because they're showing love. It's to get what they want. But after the sudden event or jealous rage, perhaps a fight, awake after close inspection, and the King of Wands' his affectionate nature, with two women stuck to the ceiling, perhaps one is tied and one of their free will, while he holds another. Dancer or creative performer and pointed toes, one with their hands tied, with fingers nearby that she can't control, from one with jealous rage issues, or Scorpio reversed and Pisces or Capricorn reversed, or two who hurt each other come together now at 8:39, which is the dance and the 39 of the Knight of Cups. Leadership comes up here with 81, which for me is the end of karma around the world, and underneath that is perseverance in number 4, which is the Emperor, but also control. With the Three of Cups coming together, celebrating or just hanging out with friends, but starting over in love. With the King of Swords, who may think they found the one. After battling to awaken, frustrated without passion and separation, the King of Swords is coming downstairs, or dumping all others, juggling to pay and fix, and the King of Wands with affection and completing their leadership position. At 8:44, again, dancing and manifesting dreams, and the 44 of the grounding, integrating, and mastering of receiving of love, or learning how to do that. We have the underlying energy here of walking away from broken fallen angel, or Cancer, Sag, both reversed, and the Page of Swords reversed, spreading rumors, or working to align at night with the King and Queen of Swords, who are both reversed, who may all be grieving, or just very negative or verbally abusive to each other. Or a child who's working nights to get away from the King and Queen of Swords, post-war or virus, in a wake-up call for kids or soulmates to detox attachments, chaos, and addictions. With good news coming in to end the war and disconnect or at a distance, and someone saying them fighting words. Lying to the Magician after a sudden event or an epiphany while healing, the Knight of Cups reversed and Dark Knight or Scorpio reversed are grounding and integrating their 5D connection. In a rest, a break, or taking a test, and the Knight of Pentacles meeting up with the Knight of Swords to pay off their debt or settle out any inequity they have between them. But they're both upright. Perhaps Scorpio reversed, Knight of Cups reversed, may be jealous of the Knight of Swords who's upright and got the job. Okay, so the Knight of Cups is reversed, but the Knight of Pentacles is upright, and so is the Knight of Swords. So the recent past here is the Indigo, perhaps a sister or suffering in silence, trying to end the nightmare with new information, throwing them off balance, and the Queen of Cups reversed, losing their patience, perhaps with liars, or in a split with the Knight of Wands reversed, unable to make good on their offers, unable to save themselves. Recovering with the Ten of Cups reversed family, who may be very unhappy, or the ending of an emotional cycle that's way overdue, or emotionally unfulfilled in general. Recovering or allowing now more patience in, defenseless to the energies and or attacks they're feeling ganged up on, offering love to the Emperor reversed and the Hermit reversed, unless they're the same person. That also can be a parent, who's not doing well or has Alzheimer's or dementia. But in the abusive power here as well, or someone losing their mind, or retiring and coming out about it. With Gemini and Virgo upright, but also Sag, Scorpio, Aries, and Virgo also reversed. The foundation here is the Four of Wands upright, the home and union, the celebration, the healing and forgiving of the King and Queen of Wands at work, with the Emperor and Hermit reversed, or the parent with Alzheimer's or dementia, or they think is out of their mind. And there's Leo, Aries, and Virgo all reversed right there. The central energy is the Sun, but it's reversed and drained, overexposed or feeling trapped with your hands tied, receiving big love offer from Atlas, or hard worker of the King of Pentacles, now that the worst is over, with the King and Queen of Swords both reversed. The prisoners of the workplace. The challenge being, it's very interesting because rarely do couples come up together like that side by side, but the King and Queen of Swords came up side by side here, the King and Queen of Wands are side by side here, and the King and Queen of Wands are side by side in another deck over there. So that rarely comes up. So it's definitely that energy of coming together. But the King and Queen of Swords are both reversed. And that can represent the same couple, but perhaps in their work mode versus their home mode, that can be as well. Or they could be a totally different couple, or they could be siblings, you know. So the challenge being the Two of Cups reversed, the Sovereign reversed, and Justice reversed, which can be those Two of Cups, right? So that could be an Earth sign and then a Libra, or someone with Earth or Libra in their charts. Or the Department or Dependent or the Taurus reversed may be unfair, or with Libra reversed in a divorce, unjust, or irreconcilable differences. Excuse me. Grounding and integrating inequity of divorce or a break in contract, trying to keep their balls up in the air, with the Page of Wands who's excited about getting their ducks in a row, or excited to intern or follow the professional. The Page of Wands is forced into their awakening in energy vampiring prison and meeting up now with twin for a meal or date that the Ten of Cups reverse family is not happy about. Big love at work and losing patience, or with fallen angel, presently drained, and the Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help at home, or perhaps just never learns their lesson. And that could be a missed opportunity as well, or unable to support their home on their own, and that can be an adult, you know, or a younger, or an older child rather. And that was at 9/11, which is emergent. So someone all of a sudden may not be able to support their home on their own because of whatever changes happened in their life. So now here's the Knight of Swords upright, sending a 5D message, the wounded warrior spreading rumors, with the Knight of Swords reversed, about the truth of the King of Swords, or the Knight of Swords is correcting the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords both reversed, with wrong information, or mouthing off, or siblings fighting. But if the Knight of Swords turns it around, maybe the parent's saying, like, if you turn this around, stop fighting with your younger sibling, I'll let you go out, but they can't. That's the kind of energy. Like the Page of Swords isn't going anywhere, but the Knight of Swords is upright and reversed. So if they turn it around with the younger sibling, then they can go out or be free. The Knight of Swords may be free if they're being loving to the King of Cups and the Knight of Wands reversed. Dependent or powerless at present, with Gemini or lover awake, and defenseless to the group or energies, with the King of Cups and King of Pentacles both upright, King of Pentacles, the superhero, and the Knight of Wands reversed between them, or no rescuing of each other. In disconnect, or the cycle's done, or Capricorn reversed and Pisces upright, receiving stolen merchandise, or being investigated or accused of cheating, with big love at work. Dissatisfied not getting their way, with Pisces, Dream Girl, or Sealed Divine Feminine, with Sagittarius reversed presently, with Leo reversed as well, or Fallen Angel, losing their patience or temper, and drained by the Page of Pentacles reversed, which can be a child or a kid or a missed opportunity, or somebody didn't get invited, but at home always needing help, or the King of Cups showing up at the house. This may be a problem for someone, and begging for money. Soon here is the Strength card upright, breaking through to the other side, with the Empress reversed with an announcement, or judgmental in the heated exchange, with the Knight of Swords rushing in with the truth. Taurus reversed Aquarius and Sagittarius perhaps, or Leo, or nightly injustice of waking them up, or resting and sleeping, or being in the 5D connection with the King of Wands and Queen of Wands, and Cancer in bed with Libra reversed with them, and them making fun or making light of them, right? Could be making fun of another person. Or perhaps someone passed quietly in their sleep. Or Libra's pissed off that the King and Queen of Wands stay up late talking, and it's unfair to them because they can't sleep. Or that he must get up to come downstairs to tell them to shut up because they're trying to sleep when they know they went upstairs to go to bed. Especially if the mother and child are not well. The twin flames here are the Five of Pentacles reversed, with hermits coming out of the Mary Magdalene cave. The Page of Cups with a message of love, offering big time, money, and effort to help heal, or with depression, to third-party magician, or this. They're literally could be dealing with social distancing as well, but perhaps at a show, like going to a show where You don't know how they're working out the social distancing issues of going to watch a magic show, but also ending conflict magically by not worrying about it, with the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, at home, always with issues. Perhaps calling in your soulmate, letting friends help, and very soon came up next to the twins, and past life relationship and engagement. So it's a relationship moving up to the next level. Around the twins are how they're seen as the Seven of Wands reversed, defenseless to being ganged up on, uncomfortable emotions and no peace. The Chariot or Cancer making them feel bad, or driving right over them, or right past them perhaps. At 9:59, the moment before 10, and the block being the Eight of Pentacles, working and lining the steps with crystals to detox and dump emotional attachments, or all but the one, or dumping all but the one. Individuality, new beginning, time out, but even more so, love partnership comes up here. Uncomfortable with a divorce, break, or Taurus reversed, or no longer avoiding spiritual issues at 10:01. Karma of completion, Seal Divine Feminine, Dream Girl, or the Queen of Pentacles upright, destined, or Libra presently drained by the Page of Pentacles reversed, or a missed opportunity of union, or needing help with a house or home or celebration at 10:04, which is message received, which is funny because I'm going to see my friend whose birthday is 10:04. And the karmic judgment and frustrated and disconnect or at a distance, not coming together with kids. The Knight of Pentacles offered, or not coming together with their offer, but there's good news coming in with a present or a gift to the King of Wands with Scorpio, or not so sudden surprise with the High Priestess. Or the King of Cups, Pisces, or after a sudden event, the King of Cups has an aid, and no message from Pisces or the Divine Feminine world, fixing things with the King of Wands, and the Knight of Cups reversed, jealous, downstairs at home, recovering and powerless, to Indigo, needing a vacation, and challenged by the Two of Cups reversed, and disconnect or at a distance, and strength or birthing, or strength of birthing and aligning with the Knight of Swords, Aquarius, or a judgment, frustrated or not aroused about the good news or the gifts, after sudden events, epiphanies, or sex with the King of Cups, Libra upright, Leo reversed, Pisces upright, and Taurus reversed, Aquarius upright, Scorpio reversed, Pisces upright here again, here, or Virgo as well at 10:26. That high vibration of the 1-0 and destiny, and the 26 of the Page of Wands is excited. The King of Wands and the Knight of Cups reversed, which can be his jealousy or a second person there, are dumping emotional attachments or loads, repeating steps, or downstairs redoing the steps, with Indigo, King of Swords upright, and the Four of Wands home or union or celebration, which is draining, with the Knight of Swords upright coming in with the truth, and challenged by the Two of Cups reverse breakup and disconnect or at a distance, and recovering from a breakthrough or birthing, and defenseless to the energies of group, and blocked by working to line steps or align with a judgment, karma or karmic retribution here, and leading the way after feeling forced or abused by Aquarius or judgment, being present after the sudden event with the King of Cups, and Pisces or with Scorpio in their chart, and Leo, kid's pet or ego that's draining without a partner. So again, all of a sudden people can't afford something and there's too much going on, because in a breakup, all of a sudden you have to take care of all your own responsibilities. So Gemini or Virgo finding the strength to wake the collective at 10:33. Again, destiny of unity consciousness. And heaven on earth. Okay, so let's see. Let's just pull a few oracle cards. See what comes up. Put this bowl over here. And yeah, let's pull from the new deck again. I'll just fold my sleeve back here. I was kind of digging into my thumb. Okay. I'm just going to pull from this. This is the Shaman Dreams deck. And I think I'm going to pull an energy deck card today as well. This deck's really stiff. Take another deep breath. Okay, so what's our takeaway from the read today? What is our takeaway today? Our takeaway. I was just getting, when I said 9 plus 1 is 10, and then 11 minus 1, the takeaway was 11 minus 1 equals 10. Your takeaway from this is the 10 of that 1, 0, and what that means. And then here we have beloved. Look at that. Radical acceptance. You guys, that's a beautiful card. I don't know this deck yet, so pretty beautiful. The 2 of the 2 of cups, and the 1 to 1, the beloved radical acceptance. It's very fiery there too. Wow. And then this other card wants to be seen as well. The jeweled web of connectivity. And this was coming up as the magic mushrooms, I should call them. The jellyfish that will come, the new plants we're supposed to get from our ET friends that will glow. So the jeweled web, and this can reference jewelry as well, and connectivity when 2 beloveds are coming together in radical acceptance. So there's kind of interesting energy there, guys. The 2 and the 32 of the journey of good news coming in, a proposal perhaps with the High Priestess, the Divine Feminine. Okay, guys, and the next card looks sticking out. The Garden of Venus, rest and renewal. 25 is the Knight of Wands. The bottom of the deck is skywriting, the fates, and that's the 49, the Get Your Wish card of the 9 of Cups. And look, there's I told you, this is the X and the 1 and the 1 mushed together, right? It's that upside down the sideways hourglass that references the same as the infinity symbol, only in the diamond cut squared off energy. And there's the 11s in this card, just like I saw. I can't show you the sticker because it's actually on this iPad that I'm using. But it has this, again, the 2 11s and the X between. It's coming up on this card. And that's what I was just telling you about. How crazy is that? We have the whale song here resonating too, this sonography. Okay, look, it's the glowing mushroom. You guys, 61 is take a risk. It's that liar, cheater, thief card, but it's about taking a risk with what resonates with you. How cool is that? And the whale's in a bubble. The whale song. Resonating with the whale. You might want to listen to some whale sounds. But how cool is that? Because the glowing plant or jellyfish is coming up here. And all the symbolism that I was just telling you about. And we have the purple moon as well. That's crazy. I'm getting like a performer here too. Look, see how the clouds are? It looks like this is his hand coming up in front of him. This is his face, and this is the other arm back, and this is his body. There's a blue feather there too. You know, I'm always looking for blue feathers. How cool is that? Skywriting. The fates. All right, you guys. So you have skywriting and the underlying energy, and then you have this, like the 2 of Cups, jewelry and connectivity and the journey and an offer, a proposal, and the Garden of Venus, of rest and renewal and passion with the Knight of Wands. All right, you guys. Let's see what the energy deck has for you. 10804, and it's 5:20 on the clock, which is the Hierophant and the 20 of Judgment, or the 52 of the Queen of Swords with Source backing her up. 1 and 8, did it just move? I can't remember what I told you, what number it was. All right, so from the energy deck here, we started off with the King and Queen of Swords, who are reversed right here. And now the clock has the Queen of Swords. So what's that all about? Two cards are coming out together. The Temple Path, which is 12. And remember that X with 1 on either side, I initially wrote down as 12 and 12. So there's the Temple Path. And it's the Garden of Prayer, right? That looks like Thomas Kincaid's Garden of Prayer. And the attachment to the mask and taking it off, freeing yourself. So 5 has to do with change, expansion, and freedom, but also the Hierophant of commitment and guidance. And perhaps some societal norms that someone feels chained to right here. But letting go of attachments on the Temple Path. And we also have the 2 again of the High Priestess and Divine Feminine, which is also being able to see both sides of the situation, but also duality. So it's the positive and the negative again. And being right in the middle in the bridge. Okay, so taking the journey of no attachment, but no resistance either, right? Because a certain belief system may force you to resist or attach to something. This is about removing the mask and taking that journey, taking the risk to take that journey of staying to the middle, erring just to the left a little bit, right? With the glowing plants, the suitcases that were planted for you. And again, there's some anxieties here too that can come up with the 18 and the moon and following the lunar cycles. And then with the 32 again, from the other deck had 32 too, the door to spirit. When there's anxiety, just clear it out, right? And you get to do Miss Mary Mac and see if it helps clear your energy up. So again, when there's some difficult energy, just open the door and clear the air. The bottom of the deck is, and then the next one is the door to romance, right? So, and then we have the 51 of the King of Swords, the healer of the ages. So you see where all this leads. The bottom of the deck is the broken heart, which then had to expand to grow even bigger for the hermit. And what's underneath it? And there's the two coming together. In order for the two to come together and have their dreams come true and take action, the heart had to grow 3 times that day. But in order to do that, it had to break first so that it could be pulled apart. And I know, it's just like having your palate split, because I had my palate split when I was a little girl. Okay, so the sky writing of the broken heart and wishing upon a star regarding the wisdom of the temple path and seeing a new perspective of taking off the mask, or perhaps for some having a new perspective on the mask or on the you know what, and feeling chained to something, right? Because society says so. But it's freedom from attachment, but also from resistance, and taking that journey to the middle with the divine feminine, the high priestess, and it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, but in multiple directions of time and space. You can go any direction you'd like. And then when you feel like you're separating from source, which then creates anxiety, perhaps because of the full moon or something, then just remember to go back into meditation and clear with the white purification on the journey of high vibration, which naturally protects you along with nature. Remembering that door to spirit is always open. You can always change this perspective. And then that will bring you the romance of standing up for yourself without being defensive, right? Having the key to your heart without being caged in the door to romance. And that commitment doesn't have to be a sentence, right? It can be something that sets you free. And then there's the healer of ages, the King of Swords, who then opens his loving arms to thee as the Queen of Swords that we started out the reading with. So I have to leave it right there because that was a really beautiful message. Make sure you drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, or don't listen to me at all. Follow your own resonance and rise and be love, you guys. I'll see you soon. Make sure to breathe deep. I have to breathe deeply right now, so do that. Clear the air as we just went through 51 and 52 again. Rise and be love, you guys. Bye.